Great. I'm going to present this on behalf of myself, and Christy Pucci, our occupational therapist. But before I get started, there was a comment about using Google to help with transition. So whoever made that, describe in the chat what you're talking about, because that might be really interesting. I'm not sure how to do that. So, okay. So we're going to talk about visual schedules as one form of positive behavior supports. Let's do the next slide. Okay, so positive behavior supports are the name is a little weird because it doesn't mean necessarily that everything is happy and you give treats all the time and you just keep a positive outlook. It's not about positivity. It's about focusing on what you want the child to do rather than what you want the child to not do or to stop doing. So, for example, all of the suggestions in the chat so far have all been ways to help us show Riley what we want her to do. None of them are like stop tantruming, stop complaining. It's and that's for a good reason. If I tell you to think about an elephant, you're going to think about an elephant. If I tell you not to think about a giraffe, you're going to think about a giraffe because you just can't help it. You heard the word giraffe, now you're going to think about it. So we have found with helping kids engage in behavior, in the behavior you want to see, the more you are saying what you want them to do, the more their mind and brain are paying attention to what you want them to do, rather than having them think about what you want them to stop doing. Okay, so that's the idea behind what positive behavior support is. And there's no such thing as negative behavior support, but that's a whole other topic. Okay, so the idea behind positive behavior supports is that they prevent or reduce challenging behaviors because, again, you're focusing on what you want that child to do. So you want to teach them a new skill, or you want to teach them a replacement skill if something they're doing is, not helpful and not adaptive, but it's getting them what they want. Okay. Visual schedules and visual supports are a really good type of positive behavior support, and they do that by supporting independence, participation in things, and communication. Next slide. Okay, so big picture, you might hear the term positive behavior support plan. That's often used in the school setting. A positive behavior support plan is going to be looking at the child's whole day and try to think about what are we doing, what kind of life are we creating for this person or helping this person create for themselves that is going to be fun and enriching and all that kinds of things. When you're busy doing stuff you like, when you're busy participating in things that are meaningful, you don't have time for or need to have challenging behaviors because your day is going well. So here's some big picture questions to think about when you're thinking about the child's whole day. Are there appropriate and enriching activities? If you're bored, you're going to be having some behavior problems. All of us would do that. If we were bored all day long, we're going to just get ourselves in trouble because we're going to be finding something to do. Are sleep, food, and physical activity going well? I love that there was a question about sleep in here. If you're not sleeping well, if you're hungry, if you're physically like you need to get up and moving and you're not able to, that will lead to challenging behaviors. So thinking about that big picture is really important. Does the child understand what they're supposed to do? That's where visual supports can come in place. Can we set things up to prevent problems from happening in the first place? And some of the ways you do that are by giving good positive behavior support and building in things like choices and fun and breaks, because we all would want that. That's going to make our recommendations, our lives better for ourselves too. And then finally, are we doing things that build on the child's strengths? All of these things are great strategies for thinking big picture, positive behavior support plan. Next slide. Okay, so we're going to focus a little bit more on visual schedules and visual support. So we've got a lot of great ideas about some visual things in the chat. Hopefully people will pick up at least one new idea that they hadn't seen before. So visual schedules came up in the chat. The idea there is usually looks something like this, where maybe this is a bedtime routine, a morning routine, and a bedtime routine. And as you can see, each step is a little picture. And what happens is it becomes fun to finish the first task, pull it off and put it in a little, maybe put it in a little envelope that says done on it. And you keep working your way down the list. Or you just keep it on there. Most people, I don't know, so you could keep it on there, but I think it's better if you take it off so the child can tell when they're finishing things. But you as the parent can use your bank of all those pictures and come up with new routines. You want to teach this kid how to make a sandwich. You want to teach this kid how to do the laundry or pick up their toys. You can turn that into steps that you put on this schedule. And because they understand how the schedule works, you can piggyback onto that knowledge of, I know that I'm supposed to do these things in order, and put new things in there and teach new things. So it helps the child actually become more flexible, more skilled, because they have this foundation strategy of, I know how to follow a schedule. Okay, next slide. Containers are another way to use visual supports that a lot of people have not thought about before. So I tried to give a few examples here. So on the left, this is a bathroom sink. And if you can tell, it might be a little hard to tell because it's small, but on the left-hand basket are all the things that this person needs to do in their morning bathroom routine. It's got their toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, and dental floss, okay? You could put razors in there, you could put makeup in there, a hairbrush, whatever. And the container has all the things you need to do. And then you teach the child, do everything in this box, and when you're done with it, put it over in the right-hand basket, which is empty. The right-hand basket has a sign over it that says done, and the left-hand basket has a sign over it that says to do, right? So by using these baskets and these containers, you're getting the child to be independent. They know they just got to do everything in that basket, and when they're done, they put it in the done basket. And then you, as a parent, can go in and check and be like, great, you did everything. And then you can swap them out and ready for the next time they they need to get ready. Okay, in the middle, this is a container where that has Sarah's name on it. So Sarah may have a hard time. Maybe she's eating things that she's not supposed to eat. She's going around the house and she's picking things up off the floor. She's putting things in her mouth that are not food. If we make her a container that says, hey, Sarah, these are things you can eat anytime you want. Anytime you want to put something in your mouth, come over here. There's a good snack for you in this box. Then I can also, as her parent, when she's eating things that she's not supposed to eat, I can, instead of saying, don't eat that, I can change that to a positive thing. What do I want her to do? I want her to go to her snack box and get something from her snack box. So instead of saying, don't eat that, Sarah, I can say, Sarah, come eat this. And then I'm using positive language. Okay, next container this is the kid's outfit for the day. So it's in a basket. It has all the things: underwear, socks, shoes, shirt, pants. Put everything in that container, and then the child can go and know that they need to put all of those things on. And the container helps them understand this is the task. When things are laid out, it might be hard for them to tell, like, where do I stop? Do I put this other thing on? Where does my outfit start or finish? But put it in the container is a way to make it very visual. This is what you're supposed to do. Next slide. Okay, here's some more. You can put signs around things. Like on the left hand, these are the cabinets that this child can go in and not go in. So there's a big no sign by the drawer that she's not supposed to open. And then there's a yes, a check mark by the drawer that she can go in. She can go in there, she can play with those pots and pans, do whatever she wants, but not with the drawer up top. Now, obviously, if there's a safety thing, and you're not confident that she'll follow that, you might need to have more than just a sign. But the idea is you teach her with visual cues what she can and can't get into. The next one is like a working thing, like maybe, so it has some examples here of I'm working for free choice. She could be working for Play-Doh or a walk around the park or anything else. And then you can decide how many stars does she need to earn before she gets that thing. And you can tell visually how far you are in this process. I need to get 3 more stars, and then I'm gonna be able to have earned what I want. And then on the right, this is one example of a visual timer. I love these visual timers. You can set, and then the red disappears as the time gets closer and closer, and you can just see how much time you have left for something, and it's great. I use these all the time. Okay, next slide. On myself. I use them for myself all the time. Okay. Visual supports can also help you move from one place to another. So if we think about Riley, she's having a rough time getting into the car to go to martial arts, or to get out of the car and go into martial arts. You can use a visual support to help with that. A visual support you can teach your child to take an object or a picture to the next place. So for example, if maybe Riley's in the car and there's a special set of stickers, or there's a picture, or there's a treat or something that she is going to go and take to her martial arts teacher. So if we can get her excited about that, then she's not thinking about like, what is happening? Where am I going? She's focused on, I'm going to get this thing to my martial arts teacher. And then once she says hi to the martial arts teacher, voila, she's right where she needs to be. She's ready for class, and it didn't cause any disruption because she wasn't stressed out about it. She was focused on what she's doing with her visual support. So here's some examples. You might take a sticker from the bus, like if you have a hard time getting from the bus to the classroom. Maybe the bus driver has a bunch of stickers. You take one of those stickers, and then you're going to walk it over to your classroom and put it on the calendar for today. And you get to celebrate like, woohoo, we got this sticker on the calendar. And there you are. You're right in the classroom where you need to go. A lot of classrooms will have like a common place for a schedule. And at every activity transition, all the kids go to their schedule, look what's next, maybe take a picture off and take that picture to the next place. Maybe the next place is your desk, and you put that picture next to the matching one right on your desk. Your autism has helped you because you're a good matcher, and you remember that there's a sticker just like that on your desk. And the visual support has moved you from one activity to another without a lot of need for somebody to do it with you. Nobody needs to tell you what to do because the picture is telling you what to do. Other ideas are maybe if getting into the house is hard, you've got a piece of Lego from the car and you take it into the house because you know where the Legos are, or you take a piece of sidewalk chalk out of the chalk, whatever it is, you've got something that takes you somewhere else. Next slide. Okay, social stories were mentioned in there too as an option. So here's an example of social stories we make at CHOP, but you can make a social story for anything. I made a social story once about how to use a different toilet than you're used to in a public bathroom, because that was something that a kid was really struggling with. She had her favorite stall, wouldn't go to another one, so I wrote her a whole social story about how you try different stalls and it might be interesting. There might be something different about the way the toilet flushes or whatever. So social stories are great for preparation. You can do them with pictures or not. If you're a good reader, you might not need pictures, but pictures are always fun. Here's an example of a social story for things at the hospital. The key to remember about social stories, just like every other positive behavior support, you're focused on what you want the child to do, not what you want them to not do. So you don't put punishments in a social story. You don't say, if I misbehave, I'm going to lose my whatever. That's not what you're doing. What you're trying to do is prepare them for what you want them to do in the new situation. Next slide. Okay. For us as parents and caregivers, there's also a visual way to figure out like how's this kid's week going. So I like to use calendars and spreadsheets to kind of help me visualize what's going right for this kid and what are we struggling with. So for example, here's a child's typical week. I put in some things that might be happening and I just map it out on the day of the week. I do the whole week, not just the school week. Okay, and then next slide. Then I start to map out, okay, where are we having challenges? Where is she frustrated or where's he frustrated? When are we having our meltdowns? And I just color them in. And then I look at the whole map and I start to think, okay, can we think of some hypotheses about why this is hard? So for example, I think Sunday, there's not a lot going on. After church, there's a lot of unstructured time. And if we're having problems there, I'm going to be thinking, is this kid hungry? Are they not know what to do? Maybe we need to have a visual schedule that gives this kid ideas, like let's watch after church, maybe we have lunch, and then we're going to do some puzzles, and then we're going to go to the park, and then we're going to run around in the climbing part of the park, so the child can see what they're doing, and so they can probably get out a lot of physical activity. If you're on Sunday and you're at church, you probably need some time to like run around after that to get some physical activity. And then maybe dinner is hard because you had this whole day of kind of like not structured things that maybe we're missing some food and some activity and some engagement. And then maybe those by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, school is hard. Maybe there hasn't been enough downtime, and maybe that's why I'm having a hard time in the after lunch period of school. Maybe
she's having a nap.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right.
You didn't try to move anything, did you?
Yeah, it's finished everything.
The if you're not muted, there's a couple people where we can hear you. Okay, and then again, like in the evening, maybe that time is problematic because there's not enough structure. There's not something to do. So, okay. And oh, I forgot to also mention, we're not going to go through all the slides we have today. We have some, and then you'll see there's a bunch of extra slides for you to think about when we send them out. Okay, next slide. All right. Okay, so why don't we stop there? There's a whole bunch of other ideas on different strategies that people can use to prevent challenging behaviors. Well, maybe we've got 1 minute. Maybe we'll do one more slide or two. Okay, so we talked about this. There's a lot of things that can affect your behavior. So if your child is having a rough time, think about that. And also remember boredom. Boredom is a big one that we sometimes don't think about too much. Next slide. One way to prevent problems is that if you want your child to focus on doing their homework, you might need to remove other distractions. That's a way that you visually tell them, this is what I want you to focus on. And it's a way to help prevent problems. So that is part of what we would call a positive behavior support. You're helping prevent problems because you're making it visually clear, this is what we're doing right now, by removing some of the things that are tricky. Okay, let's stop there and see if there's any questions. You're going to get there's probably 10 or 15 more slides at least that have a lot of like things to think about. How to be consistent when you give directions, how to think about what might be causing this child's frustration, and there's lots of things, hopefully some ideas that will get you thinking of things you can do. Okay, any questions? Oh, there's been lots of nights that